And we're back. So there you are, and there you go. And here we are once again on the live Monday art streams, AmericanZarathutra.com. I am continuing to work on this piece here, this ginormous piece. This is only like a fourth of the painting itself. We'll be doing more today. I am going to just kind of pop this down here for a second. If you haven't gotten the White People's Quarterly for April, or rather this quarter, I should say, then I highly recommend you jump over to whitepeoplespress.com and pick that up. I am going to do a few more things to set up here. I wanted to go live at 2 and I wasn't really ready, so I still have one or two tiny things to do. But I'm going to toss on some music for you while I get ready. And the music I'm going to play is my own music. So this is the music of Donald Kent as seen at my YouTube channel. And I will let you listen to that while I continue to prepare my studio. And we'll see you in the chat. Need your forgiveness, like you owe me an apology for this business. I don't care about the names that you call me. I'm not sure of me. No apologies for what you have been. Everything's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. When we're something's wrong when you see my goodness. Stay out, go back to your home. You're proud of the nation. You do it your own hands. Everything's gonna be okay. When we're everything's gonna be okay. When we're everything's gonna be okay. When everything's gonna be okay. When hope you guys got into that tune. That is one of my songs. There'll be more music coming. I'm just getting my paints and whatnot ready here. If that's too loud, let me know in the chat. Hello, Yankee Apple, and good morning, CG. Good to see you, bro. Is the music too loud? I think probably it is. This one's live, and so it's a little more messy. Anyway, just turn that down. And let's have a look at our progress here. Oh, here we go with the crazy focus. Let's get the focus down here. So this camera's got some funky focus issues. Okay. Alrighty. Music's fine. Mic pickup is hazy. This particular, I'm going to turn it down even more. There you go. So I'm just using the mic on my computer. It's not like some pro mic. I'll have to get one. But let me set up here a little bit better. And we're going to get cooking in a second. Oh, we got issues here. Hold on. Focus, follow, and down here. Okay. So as you can see, I've made some progress. I'll turn the volume down even more. Made some progress with this, with some of the architecture. This whole area in here, it's got all these really small characters that are a bit tricky to paint. So I'm going to be working on that today. I'm really glad that I found a website that does close-ups of this painting. So that's become just what a blessing I found that. I'm so happy. All right, so I'm just going to get working and I'll check the chat periodically. You guys enjoy. Might turn the music up a hair. Okay. It's only when you need something in the middle of a live show that you can't find it. That's what's going on. See what I'll make that. All these characters in the background have kind of a bluish tint to them. It gives them a sense of atmospheric distance. I don't know how to explain it. Like it's like in a photograph, things are not as clear as they are, say, to the eye. Good to see you, Doodle Squatch and Lovelace. Cam is stuck trying to focus. Is it better now? It looks fine from my end. Oh, I should. You know why? I guess maybe. Okay, I just triggered it. So what I do is I give it something to focus on. Come on, hello, camera, and then bring it down to where it needs to be. Come on, camera, don't do this. Hello. All right, that should do it. Or not. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Come on. Okay, there we go. Hopefully. Get this up here a bit more for you. You are too late when you've gone too far. You can't think for yourself, but you still can't pray. So I've got an interview tonight with it's basically a right-wing political sort of like alternative news website channel. So there's a lot of them out there. They're all internet based. I don't know if you guys can even hear what I'm saying. I'll just turn this down a bit. So anyway, maybe you can turn off the audio autofocus. I don't know how to do that. This is I've got like a camera hooked up to this, a Digitech camera, but I'll keep an eye on the screen a little bit. So as I was saying, I posted it on Twitter. There's a friend of mine, Erica, the Citizen Reporter. Some of you may know her. She's on Twitter. She's got a YouTube channel as well, and she focuses on German history of World War II, much of which is essentially lied about to us. So there's very, very much that we don't know about that history, intentionally. So I'm sure she's of German heritage as well, and so I really admire what she's doing. And we met kind of a long time ago, actually, and I had her on my show, she had me on her show, that kind of thing. And so she's connected more with these kind of right-wing news shows, of which there's many. I was actually going to do just sort of a regular straight podcast for one of these channels. That never really panned out for who knows why. But that's fine. I mean, I've got my YouTube and yada yada, so that's okay. Anyway, so tonight's the night we're going to be talking for 2 hours. And I think it's great because it's putting me in front of a new audience. I don't really know 100% like everything about this audience. It's kind of new to me. However, knowing Erica and her affiliates, etc., I would. They're essentially people that are right wingers. There might be a range of sort of like Trumpster boomers and a variety. I don't think that they're specifically tuned into things like the JQ, and all the things that we know and talk about on our end of the spectrum. So I'm going to be cautious, but not dishonest about that tonight in these discussions. Curious to see how it goes. I mean, it's a live I believe it's a live show. So I'm just going to try to give it the fairest coverage that I can, I mean, try to imagine talking to sort of boomer Republicans, about the former alt-right or these sorts of topics, the JQ, crime statistics, these various types of American Renaissance, so much has happened in the last bunch of years. So much has changed, and the election was stolen. I mean, we're in a really really tough place right now, but interestingly, it's kind of strengthening us in another way. It's forcing us to do things that we should have done, uh, you know, 4 years ago or something like that. And it's interesting to see how we are evolving on the right. And I suppose I should say the far right. I mean, I don't like to call us the dissident right because there's nothing dissident about wanting to save your people and have families and be sovereign and et cetera, et cetera, all these things. There's nothing weird or unusual about any of that. I've just been thinking about how long the diversity is our strength lie has been around. I can remember many years ago, and living in New York City and seeing giant Bennington ads, like billboards and things with all these different races on there, and this whole like Bennington colors. I don't know if it's called Bennington or what it's called, but it's one of those like sort of sporty brands. And they were like the first one that I recall that was really toeing the line as far as like the so-called diversity is our strength bullshit. Um, and yeah, so that was, that kind of struck me even back then. I mean, and I wasn't remotely, red pilled back then. I just thought like there's something's wrong with this. Like, why are they doing this? Why are they overtly saying you must be diverse? What's wrong with things as they are? I mean, it was very innocent. It was just a very innocent way of looking at life. Like, is this just a marketing ploy of some kind, or what's the mission here? Anyway, I'm looking at the comments again. I'm gonna take a peek here. Maybe turn off at this point are more trying. Magatards are more trying than Antifa. You listen to the Tyler Hamilton, haven't you? I listen to Tyler Hamilton. I'm friends with him, but I haven't heard his show recently, and it's one of my like to-do list things right there. So I'm gonna have to get back into that. Um, that was always regarding like the Magatard thing. For the longest time, I always sort of felt. Well, hold on. Let me say hello to Imre Zatyako, I apologize if I'm saying your name wrong. King, you are streaming at the same time as Edward Dutton. I can't choose. uh, I'm sorry that you're in that situation. I apologize. I think like this is the best time to stream because, I'm talking to people from the West Coast of America all the way into Europe, and that's a lot of time zones. Um, I'm just trying to find a time that sort of works for everybody. Um, Mine's really more of a chill stream, as I like to call it. You get to talk with me in the chat. That was my dilemma too. Um, Maybe I'll have to have Dutton on my art stream. How about that? That would be a fun thing to do. Um, anyway, I lost. Oh yeah, I was talking about. Anyway, I'm gonna just turn the music off for the moment. I'll maybe put it on later. So talking about Magatards versus Antifa. Well, I'd rather, we had more Magatards than Antifa in the world. I think that's a no-brainer. But yeah, I recently had the experience of just kind of running into an older gentleman. I mean, we use terms like boomer and stuff, and I don't have any kind of disrespect for people of older or younger generations for that matter either. We're all just on this journey, going through life or whatever, and people in a sense can't help but be what they are. They're the products of their generation. So anyway, I just try to meet people where they're at. This is kind of the teacher in me. And anyway, you know, it was just one of these things where I was out fishing, and you know, he came up to me, and real talkative guy, real nice. You know, that's another thing that's nice about his generation is how friendly they are. Um, and we got to talking. He'd traveled a lot. He was in the Air Force, and he kind of lived and traveled, you know, different places in the world. And I could see where the conversation was going, and I kind of thought, maybe this is a chance to red pill this guy, you know, like just sort of feel it out to see kind of, you know, where his head is at. And you know, I dropped a few lines here and there, a few pills, if you will, red pills, what have you. And what that does is it gives him permission. You know, it cues him like it's okay to talk about politics or it's okay to talk about race. And you know, he tried to be safe and play both sides of the coin and be like, well, you know, the Antifa are bad, but these white nationalists are bad too, and do 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 do. So I in a very non-threatening kind of way just went in to explain like, here's the facts of the matter. You know, the you and I as whites are targeted for replacement and violence and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, and I just laid it out for him. Like you could tell that he had never really put two and two together. You know, that in some way he was like aware that these things kind of exist, but wasn't 100% clear on everything. So I was glad that I had the opportunity to just kind of put it together and then say it in a way where it's like it's okay to say this. You know, it's okay to talk about this, and you're safe with me, buddy. You know, that kind of a thing. So we ended up having a really good conversation. Um, the problem with these conversations is it's just really people complaining. You know, we're just saying, oh, this happens and that happens and this is crazy and that sucks, and my thinking is that frustrates me because like I'm like a problem solver. I can't stand people just complaining about stuff. Instead, but in a case like this, like I don't know the guy, you know, I can't tell him like, okay, this is the plan. This is what we're going to do. You know, I offered a couple like websites that he should visit. Worldfreedomalliance.com or .org. It's probably .org is a website where there are doctors in Europe that are coming together to fight the Great Reset. And these are people that, you know, are they run like the World Doctors Association, and they can see what's going on. They know the science, et cetera, et cetera, and they are against the vaccine and et cetera. So, you know, I try to drop things like that. I feel like it's our duty in some way to be bold in a way, like not rude, not like overly sort of, I don't know. You don't want to turn people off. You know, you're not, if you do that, then you just shot yourself in the foot. You lost an opportunity to wake people up. So I don't get too, you know, exact about things, and I let the other person talk. I let them vent or say what it is that they think they know. And you know, people want validation. They want to be heard. They want you to agree with them. They want you to pat them on the back. You know, and it's human. It's a human thing. It is what it is. So in cases like that, I feel that, you know, if I can do those things and the result is that this guy is more kind of like racially red pilled and or red pilled in any way that is beneficial, you know, then I'm gonna do that. And I guess I recommend you do too. So I'm gonna have a peek at the stream chat. Wow, a lot of chat going on in here. Let's start here. Yankee Apple. I can watch Dutton later. The live experience is not as important with Dutton. You got a point there. I'm sorry that the visuals aren't as it's not like car crashes and superpowers. But anyway, this is my superpower painting. I switched when he discussed evolutionary benefits. Okay, I'll stop there. He doesn't always upload it. Da da da. Hey there, handsome horse. Thank you for joining. It's nice to see you. We should talk soon. I believe we may, in a certain manner of speaking. The tiresome because they think Trump is still president. This Maricopa County something Q storm, etc. Dishonest himself. Um, well, you got a point there. I've been looking at stuff like that, and it feels like yeah, there's this sense of, well, I mean, the election was stolen, and if you look at it that way, yeah, of course Trump's not president, but I don't know, people they're grasping for straws, they need some kind of hope. This is a profoundly desperate situation. Doesn't make it true or whatever. We're still in this situation. However, I don't know. I always try to kind of take the middle road on these things and think like, well, what can be done, from where we're at. Tough situation. QAnon dudes are probably even worse. Yeah, I saw more QAnon stuff out there, and a friend of mine who was a hardcore Q guy, sent me more information, and I'm like, how do I tell this guy, like, dude, man, you've been had, this is a psyop. It's tough, people have invested themselves so much into that, and ouch, I looked once upon a time, in the last year or so, I was looking at just various vlogs and blogs and all that stuff, and I came across some information where somebody was saying like, this guy is Q, and it's some Jewish guy in the government, in intelligence. And as soon as I saw that, granted, I don't know if it is Q or not, but that made chills go up my spine. I thought like, oh shit, if it's some Jewish guy, then this a lot of us had a lot of confidence. We thought, yeah, yeah, yeah. We're here. We're going to turn this thing around. We got Trump in for another X amount, 4 more years. I know that there's a lot of disagreement on this topic, and I'm not trying to get into that too deeply. I know all the points. I know all the angles. I get it. I don't, not really sort of stating my position per se, as much as I'm saying anything's better than what we have. You know what I mean? Uh, the shit is hitting the fan, and this is bad. So not like I need to explain that. Anyway, I would have preferred 4 more years of Trump and us trying to figure stuff out than to be where we're at right now. I'll just put it that way. So that's where I'm at. Anyway, talk. So, some other news. I've recently come into contact with some people IRL that are involved in more sort of local activism and these things. So I'm really pleased with that and the potential for where that can go. Um, Meeting, talking. One thing an idea that's come to mind is the idea that there's so many groups, right-wing groups out there, and you've got young guys, you got old guys, you got all kinds of people on this woke. When I say woke, I should say like red pill spectrum. Uh, People who are in the know, people are kind of behind, like you say, sort of the Q-tards or what have you. Um, and I keep thinking, well, what would be a way to kind of harness all of them, all of that energy, and how could it potentially be done? It whereby, you know, these people in some sense could be, organized together. So like if you were to get, oh, the guys that do kind of, they go out and hang the posters and that stuff, uh, doing that, and then the guys that are older and have families and, not as much energy or time or something to say focus on, local talk radio. or having fundraisers or events where, let's say, there's a lot of people that get, frankly, killed due to violent crime and things, racial crime against whites. What about holding fundraisers or something whereby, and locally, I'm saying, you know what I mean? So that, these become newsworthy items that can go on the local news. And people, I know that, of course, the news isn't going to cooperate and this and that, but some news will, or in one way or another, we have to sort of struggle to get our message out there. So these are just some ideas that I'm kind of, you know, ruminating on, I guess. Take a quick look at the chat. And we got, what's up? This tiresome because they think Trump, yes. Okay. All right. Well, tell you what, I'll put on some music and focus a bit more on the art. And away we go. And like I said, I'll check back with the chat in a bit. Oh, but we don't want commercials. I try to put on these like what do you call them? Like copyright free music, right? And then but you always got a commercial somewhere in there. So here we go. A little relaxing background music. I recommend everyone to listen to FTN 403 podcast, Deep Dive on China and Israel Connection is very sobering. That is, to me, the locus right there. The relationship between Israel and China right now is where we need to be putting our attention. Good call. the music okay, guys? Oh, Joshua, that's a kind thing to say, man. That's a very, very kind thing to say. Joshua Lindbergh, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, you must check out his films. Brilliant, brilliant filmmaker, a pillar in the White Art Collective, a true mystic of his art form. Look up Joshua Lindbergh, Mystic Shorts. Music is fine. Thank you, Yankee Apple. Okay. Check the chat a little bit here, see how everyone's doing. Yankee Apple, do you remember the episode name? I'm wondering. Okay. So you guys are just chilling back there. If anyone has any questions for me, I'm happy to talk with you, what have you. That's kind of part of the benefit of this whole stream is just having just a casual conversation as well, you know. So I guess getting back to that interview I'm doing tonight, anything that you would like me to say to that sort of, again, I don't know if it's like a boomer tier Patriot audience, but sort of a right wing, older generation audience. What do you think would be good discussion or points for me to bring up in that interview? Of course, I'm going to go over everything I do, in detail. It's in a way, it's a kind of a marketing thing for AmericanZarathustra.com, but at the same time, and more importantly, it's about the movement, and what we do, what we're about, where we're going, getting people to kind of be a part of what we're doing, part of our culture. What's the show called? I will look it up in a second here. Give me a quick second. I'm new to it. I've never, it's a friend introduced me to a friend kind of thing. So I posted it on Twitter, and I'm just having a quick peek to see what the website is for you guys. I'll turn the music down a hair just to talk for a second. So, hang tight. It's called RBN, and that is. I'll tell you what. I'll put the link in the chat. So I don't even know if it's live or pre-recorded. So I'm kind of assuming that it's live, and it's from 8 to 10 tonight Eastern. So East Coast 8 to 10, and once again I'm putting it in the there in the chat. So that's the station, yeah, and you can kind of get a look at it and let me know what you think overall. You look at it and you've got like the usual advertisements for, like dry food in case of the apocalypse, that kind of thing. That's a popular item among these kind of websites. The stories, Congress turns itself, censoring the threats of expulsion. Grandmother fatally punched in French Quarter. Tim Scott responds to Joe Biden. America is not racist. This kind of stuff. Former Alan quotes about Jews will never hear you will never hear in school. Okay, well that's promising. That's promising right there. So like I said, Erica the what's her name? Erica. Erica the Citizen Reporter. That's her handle. And she introduced me to this guy. So she's very J-pilled, very. So, I'm assuming it's probably not so bad. So we'll see. I don't quite know yet. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm just happy to get my content in front of a different audience, I feel that's okay. So for example, in the White Art Collective, we are having marketing meetings now where we're discussing how to reach out and beyond um, our own sphere. There's so much that we produce every week, and only our people see it, so that we want to mainstream the White Art Collective. That's the idea. Um, yeah, there you go. So this should be an interesting thing, and so I'm feeling like everybody in our sphere. This is, I guess, a discussion, and we can all debate these things or what have you. But I feel like if every single person in our sphere used hashtags, keywords, posted links, da 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 da, and into more like normie conservative areas, that that would be like a marketing army basically. So the White Art Collective is doing that, but we're doing it with music, poetry shows, stuff that's a little more palatable and like not hardcore shitlording kind of stuff. It's something that your average normie conservative can look at and check it out, and not 100% know straight off the bat what it is that they're checking out, because all of us are a bit different too. We don't all have the same kind of message or the same music. um you get different levels of intensity, or even optics, if you will. You want to put it that way. Like, I personally, I don't know, I'm like a hardcore free speech sort of guy, and I stand behind people who, their music and their message is, I don't want to call it bad optics, but naughty optics, if you will. That, the sense that um, what they're saying is so true and so raw that, you know, our guys, even on the right, might say, "Whoa, you're gonna get in trouble for doing that." And I don't know, it's like, this whole like living a lie thing. I just can't stand it. I really have a serious problem with it. It's one thing to just sort of tell the truth in a snarky way, and it's another thing to have like really openly mean-spirited racist kind of stuff. And I think that kind of stuff can be on private channels, because it's sort of our inside joke stuff. It just helps us blow off steam, like, I think I'll just kind of leave it at that or whatever. I don't know. You look at it, you can go over to the left wing and see how they openly want to kill us, and it's like, oh, that's okay. But if a right winger, expresses his anger and frustration, then, oh my God, shut it down. They don't edit themselves, and we do. And I don't know. That's just a big topic. It's a big discussion. It's difficult. I do think that, like, there is a strong case for saying, don't play into the hands of the enemy. Don't kind of be the monster that they claim we are, per se. I feel like that there's just different levels of optics. It kind of depends on where you're posting, who you're talking to, what's going on with that. But I suppose it's just going to be an ongoing debate in our community. Um, yeah. The cool thing is, in music, film, poetry, visual art, you can get away with a lot. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm making a painting about the historic battle of the Romans sacking the temple at Jerusalem. And that alone is so powerful. Granted, this is a commission, this is someone else's idea, and I'm paid for doing this. However, I serve our community. That's part of who I am and what I do. And so this was a fantastic opportunity. I've got another gentleman in Eastern Europe who is commissioning me, after I'm done with this, to do a famous battle scene in between the Portuguese and Africans. In it's escaping me where exactly it was. It's not South Africa. It's nearby, but I can't remember the name of the location. The story, you know, it's this is a true story, and it happened in I believe in the 80s, where essentially Jewish Marxists came in, told the African tribes, you know what, we're going to set up communism, and you guys are going to be the rulers. You're going to be the ones in charge. And so here, take all these machetes and go into the Portuguese village and kill them all. And so they proceeded to do this. But being Africans, they couldn't just use machetes. They had to put the local whites into sawmills and, you know, rape and burn and behead and the most horrendous kinds of murder that they could imagine. And these, you know, prior to this, the Africans in this location lived in peace and harmony with the Portuguese who set up that state, and there was essentially no problem. They, you know, it's just business as usual. The Africans there enjoyed a certain kind of lifestyle that only Europeans can bring, and you know, there was no like oppression or any kind of severe social issues, but they were talked into doing this by the Jewish Marxists. And there you are, you know, like, oh, you're the oppressed and you have to go and you got to class warfare, race warfare, da, 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 all that stuff. And so the Portuguese in this location, naturally, they called for military aid, you know, and the word was, you know, you're so far into the bush that we can't get there. We won't be able to get there for at least a week, and you guys are going to have to hold your own until then. And so, common villagers, just people like you and me, they organized, they got together all their weapons, they strategized how they're going to fight, and it was a, I wouldn't compare it to like Sparta in the 300s, but you had like one white person to say maybe 20 black people, and it, using their wits and their will to survive, and even putting women and children in the fight, they kicked the Africans' ass. They like they turned the whole thing around. By the time the military came, they swept up the rest of them. So it's a, this is the next commission that I'm doing. Granted, I mean, there's some very, very grisly photos of like the aftermath of these things. There's no, you know, the painting will have to be kind of romanticized, I suppose. That's a terrible choice of words. Um, Imagined, I'll put it that way. Like I'll have to sort of imagine what this would look like, and I'll, you know, I'll get some references and this and that, and figure it out. Um, but you know, making paintings of this kind, it's a tale. You know, it's like a cautionary tale as well as it's you know, how do I say, a remembrance of history. So you know, you're not taught that in schools. You're not gonna. There's no school that's gonna say, oh, on this date in the 80s, you know, the Jewish Marxists went in and, you know, tried to have the Africans kill all the Portuguese so that they could set up their proxy communist state, which has happened. I mean, that's essentially China right there. You know, think of. I was just talking to Hoppe Perspective. If you don't know Hoppe Perspective, you must look. Well, first of all, you can just go to his YouTube, but I've interviewed him on my channel, and you know, he's become a good friend, and you know, being half Asian, or rather half Chinese and half white, it's we have very, very interesting discussions on it. I think everybody knows my background in Asia, et cetera, et cetera. So we talk about China and what's happening, what we need to know, this, that, and the other thing. And he just recently asked me, like, what do you, you know, what are your thoughts on China, what's going on, etc. So I described to him, like, you know, for starters, right off the bat, of course, the Jews got in there and supported Mao Zedong and got China to be where it is today. And now you can see that they're trying to set up China as the new global center, not America. Biden's job is to destroy America so that China can then take over and be the leading power in the world. So it's the model already. You've got whatever. I'm going off on tangents here, but I was explaining how China in say the Qing dynasty was by many considered. I don't want to call it a renaissance. That would be more like the Yang dynasty, or sorry, the Tang dynasty. But it was considered a good time by many because they were being introduced to Western technologies, this, that, and the other thing. History, people in history will say, "Oh, that was bad. It was terrible." And yeah, there were injustices. You had, the Boxer Rebellion, you had the Opium Wars, and that's going back in history even more. So, I'm not discounting that, but you have to try to see, like, before Westerners came, they didn't have automobiles, they didn't have electricity, they didn't have A, B, C, D, F, G, all the things, all the benefits that Westerners bring. So then, um, communism started. There was a vicious civil war. Hundreds of millions died, and I don't know. It's a pretty big topic. I could do a whole show on it actually, but I think I want to try to focus on my painting. So let's. I'm going to take a quick look at the chat. We got thank you for wondering. Do you remember the episode? Did that? Best optics is winning. Nice, good call. That's super quotable right there. The best optics is winning. I know some base stuff. Picture checks or DMs soon. The question, give them. Check your DMs. Yeah, I'll do that. Hail the Portuguese. Well said. Nice call. Nice meeting you, White Calling. Welcome to my world. Hopper Perspective is great. I'm glad you like him. Bro, Hopper Perspective is live stream. Oh, he's live streaming right now. Classic. Friend, have you ever thought of making tutorials? It may garner more views and then they stay for the base philosophy for whites. Good idea. There's like only so many hours in a day, and I've got 100 projects going on. I do music, the Imperium Art Podcast. Gosh, just look through my stuff, my website. I've got other projects. I'm making a film. I feel like there's so many people out there doing art streams where they're teaching tutorials that I guess that's covered. But I mean, I see your point. You're saying like people would stay for that, but then get a little red pill or a white pill, on top of it. It really is a good idea. I won't deny that. I think it's just difficult for me to pull it off with the schedule that I have. So I'll keep it in mind though. There may be a time. And welcome, Clint Jones. So we're gonna get back to some music and some painting. And let's see, going about an hour now. So you know what, folks? This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna cut it a little bit short today so I can focus on the artwork. I really got to get moving on this. And I know there's a couple other cool streams out there. You guys can enjoy them. Um, I'll be back next Monday. I'll have some huge news next Monday. Huge news. Um, so there's something going on that I gotta keep secret for now. But next week we got some big stuff to share with you. So thank you for coming. That's the okay to be white sign right there, the white power sign. Anyway, God bless, and see you on the internet.